Oh, there it is.
Hello and welcome to the Aten Inquisition, where we spend a little bit of time getting to know the populace of Atenveldt. We're your hosts, Morgan and Elizabeth, current king and queen during these COVID times. And our guest today is Lady Cerridwen.
Hello.
Hi.
I'm Lady Cerridwen. Just happy to be requested for this, and I'm excited to get down into those questions you guys have.
All right. Well, on that, then, how did you find the SCA?
I was born into it. From before my mother at the time had a twinkle in her eye. She was involved. So I was born into it. A lot of people knew me when I was just a wee thing. Disappeared for a while, but then when I was in college, I really dove into it further and found a passion. Because at one point, when I was 14, I started doing some scrolls for the Barony. And after high school really took charge of my life, I went away for a while. And when I came back, I started out with scrolls and a few events, and then slowly got more involved with running a couple events and helping people run events, and really encouraging artisans to explore their art. And just here I am today.
Have you always been here in Atenveldt?
Yes. Yeah. Born and raised in Atenveldt. Have not gone anywhere else for living. I visited Outlands once, but have not really ventured outside. The plan is to eventually, when the kiddos are older, start venturing a little bit further out.
Nice. So, being that you started, maybe not because you wanted to, because you were born into it, do you have a story about that moment when you realized that it was actually something you wanted to be part of?
It was my first event officially back after college. It was the camaraderie. It was everything was very colorful. Everybody was welcoming. They welcomed me back. The people I hadn't seen in a while were just so ready to bring me back in. And I actually have to blame Master Richard a little bit for it, because he really encouraged me to get back into my arts. And that's always been my passion. And so when I came back, I dabbled in fighting and I dabbled in a few other things, but the arts always brought me back. And the ability to share that art and share the experience with other people. So after a couple of years being back, I went ahead and took over Gold Key, or newcomers, for Barony of Atenveldt. And then I found my passion in that, of encouraging people to come join us and have fun and just get into it. So I did that for a few years. And I've been hooked ever since. Even during these times, I'm trying to find other things to do. I'm like, let's do this. Let's keep people going. Let's get the arts going still. Let's get people to service still. Let's do all of it. And I'm just like cheerleader for everybody at the same time of just trying to get people to stay and enjoy themselves, even with everything happening.
So can you tell us about your heraldry? I see it sitting back there.
Oh, yes. This is, I decided to have a frog because I love frogs. So we'll show that a little bit better there. And for me, I didn't originally have a plan to have heraldry right away when I came back, but I was being fought for in Crown. So they're like, hey, you kind of need to have something to show who you are. And so I decided to go with a frog that is black, partially because a lot of other people have different colored frogs, and the other part because it made me think of poison dart frogs. They're tiny and cute, but if you put them the wrong way, they'll get you. So that's kind of why I chose the frog as my device, because I love frogs and it's a pretty good way of showing who I am at that point.
Nice.
I like it.
So, what goals do you have?
Well, I am on the path within the society for Pelican and Laurel, so both service and arts. I'm definitely leaning more towards the artistic side, but I do enjoy running things and helping people run things, of course, and getting people to be encouraged to do things, as I was mentioning before. But that the arts have really been the biggest thing for me because I'm able to bring beauty to people's lives that maybe they don't have the talent, but they appreciate the work, or maybe they don't have the time and appreciate the work, or whatever the case may be for them. And they just overall appreciate having something that's beautiful to hang on their walls or to carry around or to wear. And so for me, my path is primarily for elevation to the Laurel. But overall, I'm really here to have fun, as much fun as I can. And if it happens, cool. If not, I'm going to continue to do what I do.
So is there a particular art or job or project that you did that you are especially proud of?
There is. Unfortunately, I could not find it. It's a banner that I had made. And at this point, because of the device I'm using, I'm having a hard, I don't know how to share the picture. It's a banner that I made that I actually competed with. And it is on, I have a Facebook page for my arts called Cerridwen's Creations. And it's on there, but I had hand dyed the fabric. I hand sewed everything that's on it. And I competed with it, and it's my device. And I'm over the moon about it because I literally sat for hours hand sewing that thing together. So I'm like, this is like, for me, my best work. I feel like this is really good. And so yeah, I'd have to say it's my personal device banner that I had so much fun learning how to dye, which Lady Anea actually taught me how to do dyeing. And we discovered a way that made a lot of people ask about it in how to dye black fabric, because a lot of people have a hard time getting consistency on it and making it completely black or dark. And so that was fun too, being able to share that knowledge with people, going, yeah, this is what we did. And it worked.
How'd you do it?
So we started with indigo. So we mixed indigo and we dyed the fabric, and then we treated the indigo with vinegar, and it turned it a little bit darker blue, slightly greenish coloring. And so we took that and then we dunked it into a madder, and then we treated that with some vinegar, and then we dunked it into indigo again, and then treated it with ammonia, and it turned it black.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was quite the experience. And I actually have it all written down. If anybody ever wants to have the document, I have it. But yeah, it was like, we're going to try to make black. This is how they say to make black. It's not turning black. Let's try something else. So it was fun. Definitely spent a couple evenings just playing around with all of the different things to come up with colors I wanted.
Like mad scientist.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
Chemistry.
So what's something that you've stumbled upon that you love that's not part of maybe your normal path?
I don't know. I feel like everything that I've fallen in love with is part of my path. You know, at one point I did have a really high energy for the fighting, but I discovered it really wasn't my thing. Like, I was really good at the things that I did outside of that, you know, encouraging people, helping people, doing the art, you know, everything of that nature just kind of called to me. A lot of people say I'm more of a people person than I am a fighter. And so that's kind of everything about that is what I really enjoy. I could not think of who I am today without everything that I did beforehand. But who I am today is the person that I feel like I will continue to be in the future and always bring something to help people stay involved.
Okay. So then what's something you would like to try?
Um, that's a good question because I have tried a little bit of everything. The one thing in terms of artwork is I have been wanting to learn how to carve bone because there's a arts and sciences project that I'm getting little pieces here and there for, but I want to actually carve the tools that I need for it so that I can have that documentation of I actually made the tools that I'm using for the project that I'm doing. And so I'd like to try out bone carving. I do have a source, but with the times as they are, it's harder to get to that source. That's the first thing. The next thing is I am not much of a sewer in terms of making garb. And I would like to learn a few other skills, like how to make your own patterns and things like that. So that's definitely something I'm looking forward to when we can have more time to, because I'm an in-person learner. So
what would you say you're known for?
a lot of people say, because they actually had something that people commented on, and a lot of people say it's my smile. Like I'm always at an event smiling. I'm always there greeting people like, hey, how's it going? Let's do the thing. Let's hang out. So for me personally, I think it's just the charisma. Like I feel strange talking about it like that, but like for me, it's my energy. Like I just bring a lot of energy to anything. And I feel like that's something that's impactful. And I mean, I bring energy to myself sometimes. I'm like, oh, I don't know where that came from.
Well,
There's some of that.
It's a useful skill though, because especially people that are maybe a little introverted need that.
Right. That explosion.
Yeah.
And something that I have been doing during these times is I have been sending out note cards. And
awesome.
They're amazing.
And even though it's not exactly the same, it's different because and a lot of people have mentioned it. They're like, it's nice to get something in the mail that's not bills.
Yeah, right.
Well, and to be perfectly fair, like it's easy to do it at an event. Like if you see somebody at an event just coming up and going, hey, I'm glad you're here. You're actually taking the time to sit down, write a letter, and put an address on it and a stamp and send it out. And so that
thought and planning.
Yeah. So
Time.
it definitely means something. I know it did for us when we got one from you.
And like I also just got more stamps. So anybody watching the video who feels like they need to have that moment, let me know. I'm happy to send cards. I actually enjoy it because it's nice. It's nice for me too because I get a chance to sit down and not think about anything else and just think about other people. And like sometimes I will look and see what recent events have happened in their life to kind of be like, okay, I know that they're having some struggles. Let's send them an extra card. Let's send them one this week and then another one next week just to help boost their heart, their everything. And so sometimes people receive it and they don't remember that they gave me their address. And sometimes people receive it and it's been a tough week. And that's all I can ask for is to try and just put my smile in the mail and send it out.
Be a bright spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd say you're succeeding.
Oh, good.
So what advice would you give to a new player?
Being that I was gold key for a while, a lot of the advice that I give new people is it looks all exciting to you at the beginning. I promise it still is, even a month from now. Take your time. Slow down. Because too many times I've watched new people come in and they get really, really gung ho. And then a year in, 2 years in, they're like, man, nothing's happening for me. Well, yeah, but you still have all of these things that you can do. Just explore something else. Don't get stuck in a rut. Just keep going. Find a new art, find a new service, find, somebody that you've never talked to before and become their friend. There's a lot out there, and during these times it's a lot harder. But one of the things that I'm hoping to help bring to those new people is more information. And because it is technically okayed to be started, I'll mention it here. I am helping start what I'm calling Artisans Now. And it's going to be an opportunity for newcomers and, the tenured people alike to talk about their art, talk about their experience, share their information, talk about what classes they might share, talk about what resources they have. If they've ever made publications, let's see those. So I'm hoping to help bring that for newcomers so that there's something for them to look forward to when we can all meet again.
Yeah, that's one of the things I've always been amazed with is you can ask a question on any of our Kingdom pages and somebody's got the answer.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And realistically, I mean, even though that's all we have right now, I feel like it will, because my plan is not just do it during these times where we can't meet, but to continue it even when we can. Because if we post out articles about people that maybe they're doing a lot of work for their barony, but nobody really knows that kingdom wide. Mm-hmm. And it gives that opportunity for everybody to when they go to that event that's in that barony, be like, oh, I know you. You do that thing.
Yep.
I want to do that thing too. Let's be friends. So that's my goal with that, especially for newcomers, because a lot of them, when they started before everything got shut down, they didn't get that opportunity of going to a Kingdom ANS or going to a Crown and seeing people working on their artwork sitting down.
Right.
And they didn't get that opportunity. So I'm hoping to help boost that so that even though they're sitting at home reading an article, they can put a face to the name and an art to the name.
Well, and certainly even after things go to closer back to normal, it'll still be helpful because, I mean, honestly, people that work in service and work in arts are usually doing it
out in the public.
Not out in the public eye. It's, as a fighter, it's real easy because we're usually the focal point at an event where there's fighting. Everybody's watching.
Right.
But some of the other people, they don't get noticed because of that. Their art requires them to be like in the comfort of their own home or in their shop.
Right. Wearing face covering to keep from inhaling things or
but getting them known out there for their art so that they can connect with the people that want to learn their skills that's really a useful thing. So thank you for being inspired to jump at that.
Yeah, I'm very excited. That's the big goal right now, is to get that going, because I feel like it'll be a good upswing, because we have events coming up, hopefully November, keep our fingers crossed, and it'll be a good upswing, I feel like, to get people again who may not be known because they're doing things in the background, or they're just brand new and doing the art within their homes. It gives them that opportunity to be able to come together at our first event and just talk. Even if they just start talking, that's all I would want.
The other thing too is if you've got an article out there about, say, an artisan who carves bone and you're wanting to work on it during these times, it gives you a face and a name to contact.
Right. Exactly. And my biggest, it's not just getting people known, but it's also to give an opportunity to those who are on the path to also be known throughout the kingdom too. And that's because for me personally, growing up in the SCA, I see so many people that I'm like, man, they would be great. They need to be there. but they are not seen. They're not known, enough. They may be superb at what they're doing, but as His Majesty mentioned, they're at home. They're doing it in the background. And so that's part of the goal, is to grow our numbers and to get more people staying and involved.
I love it.
Yeah, I'm excited.
So with your long career in the SCA, who inspires you?
I don't know that there's just one person. I mean, there's people in different stages of my life. Like Master Richard really pushed me back into the arts. Sir Nud, he really kind of made me truly think about my fighting versus my service and my art. He was the one who inspired me and said, you're having fun fighting, but that's not who you are. There's so many other people. I'm like, my belted siblings, they are always encouraging, specifically Floki, who keeps pushing me in the direction of things to get me out there. And so I feed off of that, and now I want to share it, that type of thing. And realistically, the person who inspires me the most is my partner. And even though he doesn't choose to play any longer, he still encourages me to explore my arts because he knows how passionate I am about it. So he's definitely the most inspiration for me at this point. And of course, my daughters are also inspiration because they are sitting there watching me do things like, I want to do it too. Okay, let's do that. So, yeah.
So how are you staying busy during quarantine?
I do a lot of scrolls.
Yes, you do.
I have helped with our recent award. Mm-hmm. And forgive me, I cannot pronounce it properly. Your Majesty, you better.
It's the Grazia Corone.
Yes, that. But I helped with getting that organized and designed, and then we got it out to everybody. And I was really excited seeing how many people we got to paint these cute little doctors. They're so cute.
It's been awesome how they've been tailored. Ooh. So many of them have been tailored to the recipient too.
Oh, yeah.
How creative people have gotten with it.
It's been great because we actually have a little group messaging where we'll share works in progress, and we're like, oh my gosh, I know who that's for. And it's a lot of fun watching all of the artisans that are involved, and some of them that are new, because we actually had a few new people, new to art, I should say, start doing some of the scrolls as well. And it's like, dude, where were you? Where have you been? Let's get you onto this. Let's go. We need more scrolls. Let's do this. So it's been great with that. And then I've been doing a little bit of embroidery here and there. I'm working on a cross stitch project right now as a gift, a thank you gift. And then I have a few other projects that I'm on and off working on. The arts and sciences one where I want to carve bone. Been doing some research on that, and just little things, mostly scrolls.
So many scrolls.
Yeah.
So many scrolls.
Sorry, not sorry.
No, I've actually trying to come up with a different design so we don't burn our people out with the same design over and over again. So I'm trying to figure out a good new design and getting some help with that. So
I love it. We're developing another list. So
beautiful. I'll make sure that that's top priority.
So you've been playing for a long time, even being on and off, and so you've had the opportunity to see traditions come and go. Are there any that you think we've lost that you'd like us to bring back?
Ooh, it's a good question. I think for me, one of the traditions that I really enjoyed, and it was newer during the time that I was coming in, but was the Torneo de Belleza.
Mhm.
I felt like that was such an inspirational event and perfect for newcomers. Even if it was their first event, second event, whatever it was, when I watched newer people go to that event, they were inspired. And I feel like we still get a lot of that during Crown, but it's so focused on the fighting that we kind of put, the consorts to the side just to be standing at the side and watching their fighter. And I want to see more of the consorts being appreciated because, excuse me, Your Majesty, but she's really part of the backbone to this. So
I'm aware.
There should definitely be more things like that involved with not just a single event, but all tournaments. I feel like there should be a gallery where all the ladies get to hang out, or gentlemen, not going to judge, some place that they can all hang out and just chat and congratulate each other, hang out with each other, something.
I think they should congregate together and just have betting pools.
True, that too. I mean, chookies are definitely a great thing to bet with. Just throw things at people.
Well, to just watch them get into betting on the fighters.
Right? Oh, my fighter's better. No, my fighter's better.
On the consort side. I like it. I think that could be a lot of fun.
See?
Yeah. I feel like there should be more of that because even in one torneo, I fought in it and was a consort at the same time, and even that was fun. And I feel like, especially for Crown tournaments, if the consort and fighter are back and forth, like we had their highnesses, they fought for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Even in that instance, they're both technically still consorts as well as fighters. They should also be a part of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, and I think that's one of the things we forget, that the fighting is the real easy way to rope in newcomers, like, because it's the fighting. But what usually ends up happening is that their significant other kind of has nothing.
Right.
So what you're saying would actually engage them in the day's events as well, which I think leads to a longer staying power.
And I would agree. I mean, as I said, when I watched the newer people go to a couple of those tournaments, they were just like, man, this is fun. Like, we get to hang out and eat snacks and have beverages, and then, not necessarily take it to the point that Torneo had where fighters, if they lost, they had to grovel. But and it could be applied to certain tournaments, but definitely not Crown. But it was still an experience for them that they didn't see at a Crown, that they didn't see at Warlords, they didn't see at other things, and it made them go, man, where is this? This is fun. This is keeping everybody engaged.
It's the silly side.
Well, and it's some of that pomp and circumstance that doesn't end with a job.
Right. Exactly.
So which current tradition is your favorite?
I think it's a traditional within my barony. And I say within my barony, Barony of Atenveldt. I should be clear. I should be specific now that I live in Barony of Triscathir. But it's what we do with the Arts and Sciences champions. And the Arts and Sciences champions in the Barony, in my experience, because I was an Arts and Science champion at one point for the Barony, we kind of get to run the next Arts and Science competition. And I enjoy that because it gives an opportunity for us to, for me personally, I use it as an opportunity to encourage people to do it. Be like, no, it's not as bad as you think it is. It's a lot easier than you think. I did it, and I don't like doing documentation. I like to just do the art. But it's a tradition that it makes me happy because it allows for that part of me personally to encourage other artisans to get them out there, to get them to realize, yeah, you're good. You're good. just do it.
So, on the other flip side of that coin, are there any traditions that you'd like to see us stop doing?
I I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a question I would have to think more about. I don't know that there's anything that outright makes me go, I'm not sure that's okay. Um, yeah, it's just it's more of thing. I can only really think of things that I want to see more of. You
Well,
know,
that's not bad.
yeah, and I would definitely like to see more things like Tornado or more encouragement from elevated persons with the younger crowd. It's an old society. We're reaching mid 50s at this point, and we have a lot of people who've been around for a long time. But for me personally, being that I'm on the path, I've watched too many times where people are discouraged by those that they're trying to become.
Yeah.
And I would like to see more encouragement, more constructive criticism instead of that's not how they did it.
Agreed.
And I've seen that far too many times where I'm like, and then you're that person, you're the friend that needs to be like, no, you're good at it. Don't let this discourage you. Like, keep going, keep pursuing, keep doing it. And it can be rough, for the person receiving and for the people around them that are trying to tell them, no, you're good. Just keep doing it.
Yeah, it is kind of terrible that kind of behavior has become often enough that you could say it's a tradition.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I too like to see it change, and we need to be more welcoming.
Yeah. And it's rough. And I get how some people are in terms of how they want to see certain things be kept as they are. And I'll agree to that to an extent. But when we start turning people away, that doesn't sit right with me.
Totally agreed.
Well, and the worst thing you can do is close down new opinions and new ideas, because then we stop growing.
Right. Yeah. Instead of I think a lot of the change that needs to happen is, instead of saying, well, that's not how we did it, instead say, oh, well, let's try it and see if it works.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Even if we've tried it before and it didn't work, maybe it's something different this time.
Right. And, maybe it being a different person who's suggesting it and they have a different view of it. Even that can be the changing factor.
Agreed.
Yep.
All right. So then what is your favorite event?
Torneo de Belaza, even though it hasn't happened in quite a while. That was my favorite as a participant on the concert side and as a fighter. Like, even fighting it is so much fun, because there's no weight on your shoulders for it. You can go and enjoy yourself and be silly and fight with an offhand of another squire or something. But, it can be silly. And that's the biggest thing for me is having an event where you can just have fun and not worry about anything else. Just having that one event to de-stress and let go and hang out and just be you. Mm-hmm. Without the pomp and circumstance that is required of most things or, desired by other people. It's a good event.
Yeah. Well, and tournaments can be stressful for a fighter because you're so focused on, I have to look good. And,
right.
And, of all of the tournaments I fought in, the one that I enjoyed the most was, it was only knights were allowed to fight in it. If you were above knight, if you had ever won crown, you couldn't fight. It was just knights. But it was so that the royals could bet on the fights during their royal feast.
And it got cutthroat in there.
But the thing that was funny was that there was no keeping track beyond that challenge.
Right.
Who won that challenge, and then it was being fought like a bear pit. So it didn't. There was no weight on the fighters to win or lose because nobody was tracking like you won the most fights. Nobody cared. It was we were just enjoying the challenge of each other, and it was the most fun I've ever had in a tournament.
Well,
Yeah.
And like the other aspect, Barony of Sundragon has an event that's similar to that for artisans, in the sense of you just have fun at Fabric War.
Yeah.
They basically have a small competition where there's no no job you have to do with it or anything. It's just, here's some ugly fabric, make something, and it will be judged, but be silly, pull out all the stops on it, just do whatever you can. And I competed in one of those, and I had fun doing it because I'd look over and see what people are making and what things they're doing, and I'd talk to them about it, and it was a good opportunity to just not have to worry about being seriously judged. Just have fun with it, just do whatever. And so yeah, definitely more of those things. I feel like there should be more of that, for sure.
Well, certainly every time, if every time you bring your arts out, you're being judged, it gets uncomfortable.
Right.
Having opportunities to bring your arts out and just talk about them and hear other people's thoughts about them without it being a judgment, it might make people more apt to actually compete when it is a time of judgment.
Yes, agreed. Because I can tell you personally, I put off competing for quite a while because of the air about it, and I was like, I'm not comfortable with this. But now that I have, I have an understanding for it, and so I try to encourage others to be like, hey, if you need anything, just talk to me. Even if you just need a vent about something that's not working for you, just talk to me, because I know personally how stressful it can be, but I also know how rewarding it can be. I also know how much you can bring to the table with it. So
yeah, well, it gives you the opportunity to inspire people.
Yeah, I like to get people riled up and rearing to go.
So you've run events. Do you have any ideas that you'd like to try to add to making this event more special?
Well, we've talked about a few of the ideas that I have. I don't know, the event that I ran, which was 12th night. I had a lot of fun because I tried bringing in more fantasy to it by making it Narnia themed. And I feel like there's a couple of baronies that do it well. But I feel like if we have more events, not more often, but a few more events a year that have more of a theme that isn't strictly that, whatever that event is for, I feel like it can help keep it fun. And again, not put stress on people, because for 12th night, I had a silly tournament that was with pillows.
Yep.
And then I had, even though we had an artisan showcase, it was just bring out whatever. There's no requirement at this point. And then, I had one of the Laurels come dressed as the Ice Queen and had the kids do a scavenger hunt. I feel like there should be more of that. I would want, if I was to run an event again, I would want to try and aim it towards everybody, keeping everybody involved.
All right. So you said you've only visited the Outlands once. Did you go to an event there?
I went to Battlemore.
Oh,
out there. It was my first out of kingdom event, and first time within 20 years of traveling outside of the state. And it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of walking.
Yeah.
But it was different because I went to an event where not everybody knows my name. It wasn't Cheers.
Mm-hmm.
And it was definitely an experience that I would say everybody should try at least once, because you go with no expectations. Mm-hmm. There's nobody there to be like, hey, I know you. Can you help do this thing? No, you get to go and just relax, enjoy yourself. And even if somebody knows you because they attended one of the events in state, they're still not expecting you to do anything because you just traveled across the couple states to get there. Like, you're there to have fun. I think the next time that I go to an out of kingdom event, though, I may end up working still, because I saw a lot of things that could be done. And I ended up jumping in, helping with water bearing part of the way through Battlemore. I was like, I'm going to help because that's what I do. So, but yeah, that was the first and only so far event that I traveled outside, and it was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
I think we need to get her to Great Western.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's so funny because the things that happen at out of kingdom events, like, one, you get to meet people and broaden your SCA because you get to meet people from out of kingdom. But
right.
I've always found too that you don't necessarily know all of the people from your kingdom that are going to the event, but you end up with a stronger kinship with them after, because you kind of end up spending that event hanging out with people that you might not have from your own kingdom.
Right. Yeah. And that's what I experienced. Like, Finnegan from Outlands, we camped with him, and I ended up hanging out a lot with now Sir Justin, before he got elevated. And I fought at that war too, and just hanging out with them and like getting to really understand how they fight, and like having that opportunity, because when you do events at home, they're already with their crew off doing things, but now you're out of kingdom, you are the crew. So right. You start learning how they fight, and then even though there were not enough Atenveldters to really create a large group, even just getting lumped in with some of the Outlanders, like that was great. It's definitely a good experience.
So you've got tons of experiences. What is your favorite story to tell around a fire pit?
It's kind of a lump of many stories, because it typically happens in this way. When it's late at night at a small event, I will, and with help from a few others who are more musically inclined than I am, we will go around late night fire pits and start singing Disney songs. Because why not? So for me, that's the best, is late night fire walks, just walking around, seeing who's still up, having an opportunity to just chat with them or be silly and sing Disney songs, or just get to know people better. So yeah, that's again, it's a lump of many stories, but that's the biggest thing that I always talk about, is that.
Okay, so for the really heavy stuff, what should a pier be? Like, what makes a pier in your mind?
The standard requirements, of course, being able to teach, being able to encourage. But for me, it's being welcoming, being that person that people aren't afraid to go to. Mm-hmm. That even though you're a peer, they're not going to go, that person's a peer and I've heard these things. No, being that person that you can be, I know that person, and they don't even think that you're a peer. They don't even think about it. I'm going to go chat with that person because I need help with this thing. That's what I feel a peer should be. With all the experiences that I've had, I have a handful in my mind for me personally, but that's what I feel like should be. You're able to conduct yourself appropriately in or out of events, and you're not going to discourage others. That's the biggest thing for me.
Yeah.
So is there something that you'd like to see the peers do that you think could improve the SCA?
Heavy stuff. I would like to hear less about people who had started at the bottom and worked their way to improving. I would like to hear less about them bad-mouthing others that do the same thing. They're holding people to such a high standard that can't be met, but they're phenomenal at the things that they're doing. And it's like, maybe they don't have the money to have the fancy clothes. Maybe they don't have the ability of, being at every single event, but when they are, they're there. I would like to hear less of people who are peers bad mouthing people that are working on it.
I think that's fair.
Yeah. I mean, I think if you if there's something negative, it should be something in a behavior, not their garb's not up to snuff or their camp's not up, it's like they're treating people badly, then we should be dead. None, that's something we talk about negatively, but otherwise.
Not talk about
And if
gossip, but talk about
to them. Yeah.
Well, and that's the other thing is if you feel that they're not up to your standards, help them get there.
Yeah.
Don't just say, I don't like the way they dress. Okay, help them change that.
It's funny because we always laugh that people lose touch with where they were the day they were offered their peerage.
Yes.
They forget that they've spent the 10 plus years since they got elevated growing, and then they think that the bar moved with them. And it's like, no, the bar doesn't move with you.
Right.
You were the bar one day, that one day.
Right. Exactly. And that's been the hardest for me as a student to watch is that, and seeing people get discouraged so much that they've either returned their belts or they stop playing.
Yeah, it's a definite issue.
Yeah.
I think people would benefit if they would just, be allowed to come to their own understanding with what they think a peer is, and then to just start being that person, and, and then finally get recognized, but not some of the expectations that are being put on people are out of line.
Crazy. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, that brought it down.
Yeah. So tell us a happy story then.
So I will actually, and it involves you guys. It's with my daughters. I brought them to their first official event, and you guys were so welcoming to them that they literally came home and said, when are we going to the next one? They had so much fun. And I know for a fact that they still have the little coin that you guys gave them. Nice. They keep it in one of their safe boxes. And so sometimes they'll pull it out like, when are we going to go to an event again? Like, well, it's kind of hard to do that right now, but we'll talk about it. We'll get you guys there. And so you guys have been so welcoming every time that you've been in this position. And my girls really appreciated it that day at Crown.
Well, thank you.
That's awesome.
You got any other questions for her?
I was going to let you ask a question.
What's your favorite color?
My favorite color is green. I'm a Gemini, and no, my favorite color is green. I made sure it was part of my device heraldry because that is a color that just kind of I feel like grounds me more. If I'm wearing something green that day, that's a calm day. It's a very calming day. I'd say moving into other favorite things, favorite art form, I think is painting banners. I really enjoy doing that. I need to do it more, I feel like, because I feel like there needs to be more pretty things out there.
I support that.
Yeah. Sure.
And I'll talk about that for a moment. One of the things that I have personally viewed is how much more over the last few years, how much more people are putting out artwork in that way, putting up, walls for their campsites or banners to fly at Crown or whatever the case is. Like, I feel like that is definitely an art form that is viewed a lot, but not not really like recognized per se.
Yep.
It's kind of people don't truly understand what can go into that. And I don't know, I feel like there should be some sort of event activity or something that goes around those things. So to add into the question of what would I like to see at events, I think something that is more along those lines, even if it's a slight banner. Sorry, my cat deciding he wants to be on TV.
Okay.
Yeah. So I feel like that should be something that should be done too.
Like best Eric's side heraldic display or something.
Something more at Crown or at Coronation or something. Just something to be like, here's all the pretty things. Let's try to add more to it.
Yeah, it definitely adds to the ambiance when you go to an event and there's so many banners flying in the wind. And
right.
It was why we pushed all of the baronies to make new banners for them to put in the kingdom camp.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that I can tell you right now, during that time I was living in Phoenix, so I was in Barony of Atenveldt, and I actually saw a lot of people who don't normally do that artwork doing that artwork.
Yay.
That's awesome. We need more of this. We need definitely more of this.
I think group projects are really good for that.
Right.
Well, and I think it takes somebody that may be afraid of a certain art, knowing it's a group project, knows that they're not doing it alone.
Right.
Oh yeah.
It is more encouraging for them to try.
Oh, absolutely. And like the thought process I would have on terms of adding something like that, even during a Crown or something, is, the day that Crown is happening, all of the artisans or even the consorts just sitting in the group paint a banner. And then the next day it gets hung up on display. Something fun to kind of immortalize that day.
Yeah.
Well, even maybe something like where a Baron and Baroness go, okay, well, these are the members of our populace that are competing in this Crown. Let's make banners for the fighter and the consort. Let's, as a group project, make sure that all the fighters and consorts from our barony have pretty banners to fly at Crown.
Right.
That would be kind of awesome.
Yeah, absolutely.
I like that idea.
I'm a schemer. I come up with ideas, and then
he does, and he's like, "This is easy."
And then I step out.
You're like, "Here, do the thing." Okay, bye.
He does. Yeah. Sure. I'm gonna go fight.
Well, that's it. I got to go fight.
Yeah.
Well, and then when I do art, it's very personal. It's just me in the garage.
Right. Yeah. I've seen your art. It's very pretty. I've seen people wearing it. So
that's my favorite part of it, is seeing people wear it later.
Yeah. And for me, it's seeing people like happy to hang it up.
Yeah.
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 That's probably the roughest part about setting up camp at Estrella when we're Crown, is that I don't get to put any of our pretty banners up
that other people made or that you made. Yeah, that's rough. That can be rough.
That box has to stay home.
Hey, let's not be Crown next to Estrella.
Done.
Okay, cool.
Signed, sealed, delivered.
Right.
So you have anything else?
I've just really enjoyed talking with you.
Me too.
Yay!
We definitely miss seeing you.
Oh, I appreciate that. Yeah, I miss everybody. And I swear, because I safely have gone to a couple of gatherings, mostly for people who've passed, and not being able to hug as much as I want to, or anyone at all, eats me alive, because I am a very touchy person. Like, I show my affection by touching people. And I know that when we have that opportunity and it's safer, I can't say it'll be safe, it'll be safer. I might start crying. I might start weeping a little bit. I'll carry extra tissues because it's gonna definitely be a thing.
Mhm.
Well, and it's kind of, I think one of the things that's going to be rough is you're going to have, there's some people that like miss hugging and they're going to be so excited to be able to do it again. And there's going to be some people that are just not ready for that yet.
Right. Yeah. And so it's going to be
It's going to be this.
a lot of awkward moments of, no, elbow, something.
Yeah. Just a little badge.
Don't touch me.
Right. Don't touch. Yeah. Or not ready. Something that kind of explains that they're not quite there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like that. I might encourage people to get on that.
Yeah, I think that actually isn't a terrible plan because then it gets rid of the awkward, like.
Well, and the anxiety, it helps
Right.
that anxiety. The person that doesn't want to get hugged doesn't have to worry about it because they're signaling to everybody not to. So then they don't have to have the conversation because there'll be a lot of anxiety.
Right. And it could be something that, maybe at the first event is offered when you check in.
Yeah.
Hey, we know that people are excited to be here. And even though we're keeping safe, do you want to be kept safer? Here's a thing that you can wear to signal that you're not quite at that point.
Mm-hmm. That's actually really an idea. It wouldn't be that hard to come up with.
Yeah.
It would not. I like how
I put that on the project list.
Always the pelican. See you. See, that's why I'm a terrible pelican. I have the ideas, but then I'm out.
See, and I have the ideas, and I'll involve a little bit. Like, here's the plan, and where do you need help? And my hardest part is, if it's something that I'm passionate about, my hardest part for me is to step away and let others do it. I've gotten better with it, hence the little doctors. Like, I was like, okay, we're going to do all the things. And Sigrid is actually like, no, that's not what we do. I'm like, okay, I'm going to do part of the things and you will handle the rest with getting other people to do it. And then once we actually got them all passed out, I was getting excited about that. I'm like, oh yeah, now is the part where other people get recognized for their work. Okay, I'm good with this. This is fine. So, yeah.
And so individualized. I just love them.
Yeah, they're great. I am very happy with the outcome of these little reminders of keep going.
Yeah.
It's funny because like I'm the opposite. I like to drop the idea and see if people will run with it and see what they'll do with it. I mean, it's not always a good thing, but no, because sometimes my ideas are not.
Yeah. Shenanigans.
Yes.
Yeah. So this is where you end up having somebody other than Her Majesty that stands next to you and takes notes for you. And then you, a few days later, go over the notes and say, oh, that probably wasn't a good idea.
The voice of reason.
Right.
I found that it's easier to just see how things develop and then make the mental note later that one was a bad idea. We shouldn't have got that.
Just throw the bomb out there. Okay, let's see.
That one blew up. All right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm always there to protect the people that I encourage to do something to make sure,
Right.
I'll take the fall for it. That was my idea.
Sorry. Yeah. No, I'm enjoying what we're able to do so far. Like, I have been very happy with it. Even though I agree it's not the same, I've been happy with seeing people still getting recognized during the courts.
Yeah.
It's definitely those moments of, man, this person got recognized. I can't wait till I can hug them. Like, congratulate them in person.
Yep.
Well, and it's been tough on our end too, because it's not the way we're used to giving awards. We usually like to have an intimate moment with just the person when they come up, just something private for just them to hear. And it's too impossible to do virtually. Half the time they may not even be there watching. So.
Right. And the other thing is, we all know the true secret of it is you just like watching people cry when you give them nice things. So you
Only
know,
happy tears. Only happy
I,
tears.
I didn't say sad tears. I was just saying when you get them good things.
Honestly, though, I think the worst part about the virtuals is that everybody gets to see a close up of every scroll, so you all get to see just how bad my penmanship is.
See, that's worse for you, though. See, I like that because now I can actually see the scroll that's being handed out instead of having to track down the person after court and to see the scroll.
And you
So,
get to see it for a minute as opposed to.
Yep.
I'm just
Exactly.
going to have to make sure the pictures are taken before I sign them.
Oh boy,
Gonna
that doesn't work. It doesn't work for records. Like, we got to keep record. Yeah. So
Terrible.
Well, it has been awesome talking with you today. Thank you for joining
great.
us and for being willing to do this. And I can't wait until we can all be back together again as well. Like, it can't get here soon enough.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
I won't be wearing the red little thing.
I probably won't be either. That'll be a decision that I make after talking to my partner, of course. But yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. You have anything? Okay. Anything you wanted to add before we go?
Just everybody keep an eye out for the posts that will be coming for the awesome interviews that hopefully will be starting within the next week or so. The plan is to maybe get an interview every couple weeks for people similar to this and get articles out to those that use the normal method that we send information out, but also the non-conventional or the, things that they're comfortable with, like Google groups, Yahoo groups, things like that. So
awesome. All right. Well, thanks so much.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.